What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Sector for Nerds. I'm Ryan Brower, and today I'm here to give you guys my thoughts on Andor Episode 11, Daughter of Ferrix. Now, before we do that, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also, head over to my second YouTube channel called Top 10 Character Moments. It's a place where I solely create top 10 character moment videos, and I've done so many amazing ones so far, you guys. I highly encourage you guys to go and check it out. I'll leave a link for it in the description below so you guys can go check it out and subscribe there. Let's talk about Andor Episode 11. Now, for those who missed last week's video about Andor Episode 10, I said that I actually liked that episode. I thought it was by far the best episode of the series, and it was one that I genuinely enjoyed. And then this episode happened, and it kind of felt like everything that I had as far as complaints about the show and things that I didn't like all came back in this episode, and I'm like, well, that was short-lived, I guess. Now, I did have some takeaways in this episode and some things that I am very positive about, so we're going to talk about those things here today, you guys. Here's my game plan, right? Next week, we're going to do a discussion about Episode 12 of this series, and then in 2 weeks out, we're going to talk about why this is the worst Star Wars series ever and why it's probably the worst bit of Star Wars content I have ever seen. And honestly, all things considered, you guys can get on me for not liking the show. I feel like these last couple weeks that I've been doing this show, between last week and I think the week before, and it's something I'm going to do this week as well, where I'm going to try and stick with the positives when it comes to this show. But I'm letting y'all know right now, in that video in 2 weeks' time, I am not holding back. Everyone is entitled to their opinions. You can like the show, you cannot like this show. At the end of the day, in my opinion, this show sucks. But again, we are going to talk about the positives this week, and we are going to start right now with Mon Mothma's daughter, because that is a part of the story, you guys, that last week I enjoyed the Mon Mothma scene. That was one of the things that I liked. She had that one guy in her house that wanted his son to have an introduction with Mon Mothma's daughter and do like one of those arranged marriages or something like that. Mon Mothma doesn't believe in that sort of thing, but I think in this episode, she really does consider doing it. I think she might go through with it for her because she needs access to those funds, right? Like the funds are being frozen by the Empire right now, right? Someone in the inside's got to get them unfrozen. And you could really tell in this episode how conflicted Mon Mothma was. And you could see her towards the end of her scene that she had where she was pretty much crying. She was in tears. And it was like, man, she's really just in this tough position where it's like, yes, there's my daughter, but then there's also the rebellion. Another thing that I really enjoyed about this episode, and I say it like every single week that this guy is involved, Luthen. Luthen actually got a good amount of screen time in this episode, because that's been one of my complaints, is like the dude only gets like 5 minutes per episode and then don't see any more of him. I'm almost starting to think that Luthen is just as crazy as Saw Gerrera, and if not even more crazy. But man, like that moment that he outsmarted Saw Gerrera, where Saw's trying to ask him like, who is your spy? You know, who are you? Are you ISB? Are you whatever? And then, you know, because of course Luthen keeps so much to the freaking chest, right? So it's like he ain't giving out much information. And I love how he just drops like, oh yeah, no, it was Two Tubes, that was my guy. And then Two Tubes gets so triggered. He's like, what? And he's like, no, I'm only loyal to you, Saw. Obviously, he spoke in his own language, but I'm translating for him. Man, Luthen was taking liberties out in this episode, because like the whole reason why he lured Two Tubes in, he's like, oh yeah, he was my guy, because he knew that Two Tubes was gonna get so freaking triggered, so then he pulled out a blaster on Saw. I'm honestly surprised Luthen was able to walk out of that building alive. Like, I thought he was gonna have like a dozen of Saw's soldiers just standing there surrounding him or something like that. But no. And then we get another scene that I thought was interesting, was the scene with the Imperials and them getting Luthen's ship caught in a tractor beam, Luthen trying to work his best to get out of the situation. Now, there was a moment where I almost went like, oh no. Are they just gonna have him break free of the tractor beam? Like, that just doesn't seem realistic. But no, he like, what did he throw out of his ship at it? Was it blaster bolts or was it, I don't know what it was, but like stuff was flying out of Luthen's ship and it was hitting the tractor beam dish or whatever on the ship. So it was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Like now he's going to be able to break free. Because I was going to say, like, tractor beams are supposed to be like powerful enough that, you know, you're not able to break free. Like, look at A New Hope, right? When Han was sitting there on the Falcon him like, I'm at full power, I can't get out, I have to shut down. Same thing kind of happens with Hera and Mon Mothma in Star Wars Rebels. Now that I'm thinking about it, you guys, another kind of video that I'm going to make sometime in the nearby future is what we need to see in Andor Season 2. Because if Andor Season 2 takes place over different years and it's not all just in the same year in the same time frame, maybe the show has potential to be a little bit better. And maybe we can get those Rebels character interactions with the crew because it'll take place within the time of like Phoenix Squadron being a thing. At the beginning of the episode, Cassian and his partner that we see like climbing the mountain or whatever, they end up going on a quad jumper, which is a type of ship from The Force Awakens. You know, remember when Rey and Finn were running in the desert and they were like, oh yeah, we can escape in that quad jumper. And then the the First Order blows it up. And then Rey goes, the garbage will do. And they get on the Falcon, which in the long run was a much better choice. Oh yeah, and there were finally some aliens in the episode. That's a positive, because it feels like we've barely seen any in this show. There was no follow-up to if any of the other people from that prison escaped, and they do kind of allude to this at the end of the episode where the one guy was like, look, we don't know if anybody else made it, we don't know what's going on, we need to like split up and let people know about what's going on over there. Like, people have to understand what the Empire is doing to people. And honestly, that was kind of my worry with Luthen when they were pulling him in with the tractor beam, is like, oh, are they going to do another thing where they just arrest him just because? And then in more sad news, and this was kind of a big part of the episode, is that Cassian's mom ended up dying. And Cassian doesn't find out until the end of the episode, and obviously very sad about it is Cassian. Maybe we'll see him go to the funeral, or maybe we'll see him like after the funeral. Though it does seem like the Empire is on to him, being that he will most likely be at the funeral. So I'm sure that's where the next episode is going to lead. All I'm saying, guys, is that I hope that the end of this season has some good payoffs, because at this point, that's all I've got left. I believe that's going to wrap us up for today, you guys. I don't think I got anything else to say on this episode. So make sure you guys like this video, subscribe to the channel, share this video with others to help support the channel. Head over to Top 10 Character Moments, subscribe there as well. And I will see you guys next time.
That's what a reckoning sounds like.